guys, it's Catherine, and I'm so excited because GoodNotes 5 was released last night. I downloaded it as soon as I saw that it had been released, and I stayed up until 1 a.m. playing with it so I could film this video today because I wanted to make sure I got the hang of everything before I show other people, how to use it. So my goal for this video is to show off the new features for people that are already familiar with the previous GoodNotes app, GoodNotes 4, but I also want to show how to do the basics in GoodNotes 5 for those of you that are new to digital planning that are using this app. So this is going to be kind of a long video. So I will post all of the timestamps in the video description just in case you want to skip around. I just always like to do that for my longer videos because you might not want to watch the whole video. So make sure you check out the video description for that. I also just want to say really quickly that I've got a little sinus stuff going on today, so just bear with me. But anyway, I have already opened the app. This is what it looks like right when you open it. It is so different from GoodNotes 4. GoodNotes 4 had categories, and GoodNotes 5 has implemented folders. So as you can see, I've got a lot of folders here, and you can also have subfolders within your folders. So that is a completely new feature. You can view your documents in two different ways. I have this thumbnail view going on. This is what I prefer, but you can also do a list view. And so you can view your main folders that way, and then when you go into one of these folders, you'll see all of the planners and subfolders. I don't have any subfolders yet that you have here, and these are in list view as well, but if you want to switch back to thumbnail view, you just click that again, and you're back in thumbnail view. So if you want to create a subfolder within a folder, I'm just going to do some fake ones really quick to show you how to do that. What you're going to do is you're going to hit this new right here. And this is where you would import one of your digital planners. You can do something called Quick Note, which I did not play around with last night. I'm just covering the basics for any digital planners, so that is not something that I'm really interested in at this time. But you can import your digital planners here. You can import an image, you can create a new folder, or you can import a notebook. So if you wanted to create a subfolder to further organize your digital planners, you would click folder and then type in the name, and I'm just gonna type in fake folder. And then there is your folder. If you wanted to delete the folder, just hit that arrow next to it and click on move to trash and then trash it. I believe you can create subfolders within subfolders, so you can get crazy with your folders if you want to. That would be a little too confusing for me, but I know some people like to do that with their documents on their computer, so you can do that in GoodNotes as well. So another cool thing about GoodNotes 5 is that you can also search for your digital planners or notebooks or whatever you have in GoodNotes based on the title of your notebook. So let's say you have a lot of stuff in GoodNotes just like I do, and you wanted to search for something and you knew what it was called, but you couldn't remember what folder you saved it in. You can go to search, and let's just say I wanted to search for my Truly Yours planner. I know I have a few copies of that imported into GoodNotes, so I would go here to search and I could just start typing it in, and it's going to pull up my Truly Yours folder as well as all of the copies of the Truly Yours planner that I have right there. So that is another really, really cool feature for anybody that has tons of documents in GoodNotes. So anyway, to show you how to do some of this stuff, I'm going to be using two different documents within GoodNotes for this video. I'm going to be using my Truly Yours planner, which is my personal monthly and weekly planner, and I'm going to be using my bullet journal to demonstrate some of the stuff. So I actually already have those two notebooks open, so I can easily switch back and forth. So I'm going to dive right into those. I'm going to go into my 2019 folder. This is everything that I have in there, and I'm going to be using this journal and this planner, but I'll link to everything that you see here in the video description in case you want to know more about any of these things. So like I was saying, I stayed up until 1 a.m. playing with this app so I could get familiar with it because the navigation is totally different from GoodNotes 4. So I wrote tons of notes. I actually have 3 pages of notes. I did just a checklist where I was just brainstorming, and then I did more detailed sections. So this is all the stuff that I'm going to be covering, and I'm going to do it in an order that makes sense for people that are new to the app. So the very first thing that I'm going to cover is I'm just going to briefly go over the new features. I'm not going to demonstrate these at this time. I am just going to read down this list really quick. So here are all the new features. They've got the new folder system like I just showed you. They've got text and handwriting search across all documents, and I will show you this really quick because it's just super quick. If you're in a planner or notebook and you have written or used a text box to include anything in your planner, you can search for that. So like right here, I wrote the word bug. Let's see if it finds bug. So it doesn't recognize my handwriting, unfortunately, because I did write that within GoodNotes. That is 100% handwriting. But I know that I just typed text that said so different, so I can search for the word different. And you'll see right here on one page, it's finding where I typed so different. So that is pretty cool. That won't really be that useful to me personally because I do all of my designing in Procreate and then just import those pages as images into my GoodNotes planner. So, you know, but that is really cool if you use GoodNotes for notes and stuff like that and you don't do anything in Procreate, then that's very useful. It's got flexible scrolling directions, horizontal or vertical scrolling. I'm going to get into that later in this video. It's got a favorites view, so you got shortcuts to important pages, documents, or folders. It's got quick notes, which it says is the fastest way to start taking notes. I did not play around with that last night because I strictly use GoodNotes for digital planning. I'm doing this video for digital planners, not necessarily note takers. So that is something that I haven't played around with. It's got the ability to optionally display documents as lists instead of thumbnails like I showed you earlier in the main menu. It's got improved ink algorithm, more precise and natural writing experience, but to be completely honest with you there, my handwriting still sucks in GoodNotes. It is not very good. It was not good in the previous version. It's not good here. It looks like I just shake uncontrollably when I'm writing, which I know I don't, but you can see right here, I actually wrote this in GoodNotes, and it's very shaky. It's got a new pen style, so now it has a brush, but like I said, my handwriting is still awful in GoodNotes, so I will still be using Procreate, but that is a really cool option for people. It's got an improved shapes tool where you can fill your shapes with color and make lines snap together, and I'll show you both of those features later. It's got a rebuilt toolbar with faster access to all tools and settings, and you can see that at the top of the screen, which you'll see in a minute. It's got handwriting rotation, which it blew my mind that the previous version didn't have handwriting rotation, but this one does, so that is very, very cool. It's got better rich text editing and more fonts, so you can use various colors, font sizes, and styles in a single text box, which that is a game changer because in all of the digital planning groups, one of the most common complaints I've seen for GoodNotes is that you could not use custom fonts in GoodNotes, but now you can. I actually have a video that I'll link to in the video description that shows you how to install fonts on your iPad, because in order to use them in GoodNotes, they do have to be installed on your iPad. You can use an app called AnyFont to do that, and I talk all about that in my other video. So I'll link to that in the video description. It's got flexible image resizing, which that is another huge thing that people wanted. You can now resize images strictly by height and width, or you can still resize proportionally if you want to. But the previous version did not allow you to resize by height and width. You had to keep everything proportional, which could be kind of a nightmare at times depending on what you're trying to resize. So it's got a smarter eraser, which I really like the new eraser, especially for highlighting, because you can choose the option to highlight entire strokes, so you don't have to like just color over everything that you want to erase. Again, if you have that option selected, you can just tap a single highlighter stroke and it'll erase the whole thing. And that same method would apply to like a pen stroke or anything like that. And there's the option to turn on the ability to only erase highlighting strokes, which is huge. That was not an option previously. So, you know, if you had written something and then highlighted it and then you're like, oh no, I didn't mean to highlight that, you couldn't do that previously. But now you can turn on the option to only erase highlighters and it won't erase your handwriting. It'll just erase the highlighter. So that's pretty cool. It's got more covers and paper templates, and it's got a fresh and modern design, increased stability and performance, and a lot more. So those are all of the new features. We've already gone over the main menu, so that was the next thing that I had put that I wanted to cover. So now I am going to go over how to navigate your digital planner or notebook, because that's the very first thing that you're going to want to learn how to do. they have added some new features for navigation, which is so cool. So you can still, of course, navigate your planner when you're on a certain page and you want to just browse your pages by scrolling. You can still scroll this way. You can also go into your settings. If you would prefer to scroll vertically rather than horizontally, you can come up here to these three dots and you can change your scrolling direction from horizontal to vertical, and now instead of swiping left or right, you would swipe up and down. So that is pretty cool. I still prefer horizontal scrolling, but I feel like this would be great for like portrait style planners. So when I go into my bullet journal, I can scroll up and down, and that's pretty cool. I'll still probably use horizontal scrolling for both. The only thing about that, if you use both landscape and portrait style planners, you can't have different scrolling settings for each notebook. Whatever you have selected up here, it's going to be a universal setting. So I'm going to change this back to horizontal. Okay, so now let me go back to this. The other way that you navigate your pages is just from this page view up here. So the page view, to get to that, is just these four boxes in the upper left-hand corner. You just select that, and then you'll see all of your pages at a glance. And honestly, this is how I usually navigate my planner. It's just super simple, and it's easy to see, you know, all your pages at a glance, and then you just select the page that you want to go to. So if I wanted to go back to this checklist, I could just click on it and it's going to take me to that checklist. So another thing that you can do with your pages, if there is a page that you want to visit frequently, like for example, we're in January right now, and if I knew that I constantly needed to reference my January calendar, which is right here, it's kind of hard to see in this video, but each page has this little flag in the upper right hand corner when you're looking at this thumbnail view, and you can click that and it's going to bookmark that page for you. And then when you go to your favorites, you're only going to see your bookmarked pages. So that is really cool. GoodNotes 4 did this too, but it's just easier to do in GoodNotes 5. So that is one way that you can mark your favorite pages of your planner or notebook. And the last thing that you need to know about navigation is the ability to use hyperlinks. So the easiest way to use links is from your toolbar. If you're seeing your toolbar, that means that you can switch between any of these tools, but the best way to just view everything and use your links is to come up here to the upper right hand corner and select this icon that's a pen with a line through it. And then all of these down here are links in my planner. So if I wanted to go to February, I would just click on the F and it's going to take me to February. If I wanted to go to my notes, I would click on the heart and I've got my notes section. So that is another way that you can navigate by using links. But if you have your toolbar up and you still want to go to something and use your links, it's a little bit harder to do it this way, but it still works. Let's say I wanted to go to February and I had my highlighter selected. You can just long press on one of your links. So I'm going to do it for February, and I'm just going to hold for a second, and then I'm going to let go, and it highlights all of my links except for the notes. And now I can select Open Link. And it took me to February even though I had my highlighter selected. So that is another way that you can navigate your planner. I accidentally wrote on my February section. So now I'm going to scroll back to the page that I need to be on. So if you just want to like scroll through the pages of your planner and just look through your notes, I like to do that from time to time because I feel like my notes are really pretty and colorful. The best way to do that is to select, once again, this icon that's the pen with the line through it. And then you're in scroll mode, and it's just super easy to scroll back and forth. So much easier to scroll that way than when you have your toolbar up. You can also view things in full screen mode. So to do that, after you have gotten to view mode, just click on the page and it makes it completely full screen. It's beautiful. And then just quickly scroll through your pages. And if you want to exit full screen mode, just tap it again and you're back to regular view mode. And then if you want your toolbar back, just select this icon again that has the pen, and there are all of your tools. One thing I have noticed when I'm scrolling between pages is there is a little bit more of a lag in GoodNotes 5 than there was in 4, but I'm sure that will be quickly resolved in a recent update. This is their first you know, first release, so I'm sure there are still probably a few bugs that they need to work out. But hopefully by the time you see this video, that is resolved. So now the next thing that I'm going to show you is how to write in the new app. So I've got my pencil here, and I'm going to do all of this in my bullet journal. So let me open that. And this is your pen tool right here. So you can select that, and you're just free to write. But if you tap it again after you've selected it, you can switch between pens. So they've got a fountain pen, which writes kind of like this. I'll just write hey, and my handwriting is horrible in GoodNotes. So they've got a ball pen, which writes like this. It's a little thinner. And then they have the new brush pen, which is really cool, but it still looks terrible when I write, which is pressure sensitive. So that is pretty cool. If you want to adjust the size of your pen after you selected your pen style, you would do that over here. So this is a thin setting right here, and it looks like this. This is the medium setting, which is like this, and then this is the thickest setting, which is like this. But also, if you want to further adjust the size of your pen, you can double click on one of these, and then you've got this bar right here that you can slide up or down. So if you wanted to make it even thicker, you can do that right there. And that is the thickest setting for the brush pen. So I'm going to move this back down a little bit. If you want to change the color of your pen, you do that here. One really, really cool thing about GoodNotes 5 is they actually give you 3 color options right here. So if you're color coding notes or you're color coding or highlighting or whatever, you can easily switch between 3 different colors. So all of these color options work the same. You just select whichever one you want to use. So to select the colors, you just click on it, and it comes with all of these default preset colors. But you can add any custom colors that you want right here. So to add custom colors, you just go to custom, and they have so many more colors available just right here. I switched to the eraser by accident. Sorry, y'all. They also have a color wheel, which is right here, so you can select that and kind of drag around the color wheel. Say you wanted a mint color, and then you drag within the center, and I've just created this very pretty mint color. And now if I wanted to add that to my presets, I would select this plus sign right here, and then when I go back to my presets, it's right there. So now I can write in that color. And the last thing you can do is enter a hex code right here when you're under custom. So if you know the hex code of the color that you want to use, I have already entered the one that I have memorized. So I'm just going to enter 6Ds, and I think that's going to be a gray, and hit return. Yeah, that's a gray. You can enter the hex code right there. I'll link to an awesome site, by the way, where you can find hex codes for all kinds of pretty colors. But you could enter that there and then hit the plus sign, and it adds it to your presets. And now I've got a gray pen. And the cool thing is, it's not just in my presets here for pen color, it's in my presets for each of these color wheels. So if I wanted to use pink, mint, and then gray, I've got my 3 colors set here. And now when I select that color, I've got pink. I'm just going to do a line. Select that color, switch to mint, select that color, and switch to gray. So that is a really, really cool and awesome feature. So let me clear this page. So another thing you can do with your writing, if you feel like you write better when you're writing big, I know I do for sure, but you have just kind of a small page that you need to write on, you can use a zoom feature. So this icon is your zoom feature. So you would just select that, and it's going to take you to just a certain area of the page, and then you use your pencil to move that around. And let's say I wanted to write hello right here. My box is right here, so I know that that's where it's going to show up on my page. And then down here in this area, I would write hey, and my handwriting is still horrible, but see how it makes it small on the page, but you're writing big down here. And you would just keep moving this wherever you wanted to write, and it will really help keep your handwriting tiny. I don't know why I wrote the word you and I wrote it terribly, but that's a really, really cool feature. That was available in GoodNotes 4 as well, but it's even easier to use in GoodNotes 5. Okay, so highlighting, it works similar to your pen, except it's a highlighter. This is your highlighter tool right here. And you select it by clicking on it once and then select it again. And you've got an option that comes up to draw in a straight line. I'm going to briefly turn that off and I'm going to explain that in a minute. So again, you've got your sizing right here and you've got your colors right here. Now your colors for your pen do not switch over to your highlighter colors. So if there's a color that you like and you want to use it for both a pen and a highlighter, you're going to have to set it in the presets for your pen and for your highlighter. So that, you know, is just a good thing to know. So once again, you know, if you wanted to come up with a custom color over here, you would do it the same way you would for your pen, by picking whatever color, whether it's entering the hex code, selecting one of the colors from that square, or selecting it from the color wheel, and then click add to presets. And there is a preset highlighter color. And they also have the option, just like the pen, to easily switch back and forth between 3 different highlighter colors. And then just like with the pen, you've got your sizes right here, but you can click on those to further adjust those and then highlight. So when this feature right here, draw in a straight line, is turned off, you can just highlight freely. I'm going to make it big. But when this feature is turned on and you draw kind of like a, let's say you draw a crooked line through something, it's going to straighten out your line a little bit. It's not going to make it just completely horizontal with no angle. So if you draw it at an angle, it's still going to be at an angle, but it straightens it out for you. If you get crazy with your line though, even with that turned on, let's say you highlight kind of like this, it's not going to straighten it out for you. So you still have a little bit of freedom even when that is turned on. So the next thing is the eraser tool. They have made some definite changes to that, and I'm going to show you how to use it now. So this is your eraser right here, and you've got the option to switch between small, medium, and large eraser size. Those don't have the ability to adjust the size. You're limited to these 3 sizes right here, but you know, that's not a bad thing. So when you select your eraser tool, you've got several options right here. You can clear page, and then you can turn these options on. These are, you know, optional. That's one of their options. Erase entire stroke, erase highlighter only, or auto deselect. So I'm going to show you how all these work. I'm going to use my pen, and once again, I'm just going to write hey, because that's just all I can think to write right now. And then I am going to go to my eraser and click on erase entire stroke, and now I can click on that and it erased the entire word because it's all connected. If you were to write something in print like hi, that would be 3 separate strokes. So you would go to your eraser with that option still selected, and you could click on the H and then this part of the I and then the dot for the I, and it would erase all 3 very quickly. You know, or you could choose to use it as a basic eraser and have that option turned off, and then select one of your eraser sizes over here and then just erase it like this. Okay, so now if you were to write something or type something and then highlight it, again, I'm going to write hi. And then let's say I want to come through with a highlighter and highlight it. I could go to my eraser, select erase highlighter only, and it will only erase the highlighter. It will not erase my writing. It wouldn't erase an image. It wouldn't erase a text box. It'll only erase the highlighter. The other thing that you can do, entire stroke works with that as well. So you could turn both of those on individually and then just touch the highlighter, and it's going to erase all of your highlighter. Okay, so your last option for your eraser is auto deselect. When you have that turned on, I'm going to write and I'm going to show you. So let's say you have auto deselect turned on, and you just want to quickly erase something. You would switch to the eraser tool and then just erase, you know, whatever you wanted to erase. And then once you're done erasing, it's going to instantly switch back to the last tool that you use. So that's just another cool feature that you can turn on and off for the eraser. So now I'm going to show you the shapes tool. Okay, so your shapes tool works similar to your pen tool, except it helps you form more perfect shapes. So if you want to draw a straight line or a perfect circle, triangle, square, rectangle, whatever, you can do that with your shapes. So your shapes tool is right here, and it's going to have all of the same settings as your pen tool. So when you double click on it, you can choose between fountain pen, ball pen, and brush pen. And you can come over here and select your colors. It's going to have the same presets as your pen tool, so that's really cool. It's got the ability to switch between 3 different colors, and it's got the ability to adjust the size of your pen right here. It has 2 different options that you can choose to turn on and off. It's got fill color and it's got snap to other strokes. So if you have both of those turned off and you just draw a shape, you know, let's say a circle, it's going to give you a perfect circle, square, or rectangle. It's gonna, you know, just help you refine those shapes. If you have fill color turned on, whatever color your pen is, it's gonna fill it with a lighter shade of that color. So let's do it in mint. I'm gonna draw a circle, and you see that it filled it with like a more transparent shade of mint. But another cool thing I just figured out last night, it's gonna have this outline. But if you want to get rid of that outline, just come up here and press the undo button, and then you're just left with that transparent shape, which I think is really cool. So that is the fill shape feature. Okay, so the other feature is snap to other strokes, and that is just going to snap your strokes together that are really close together. So if you wanted to form a box and you didn't want to just draw the whole box like this, you could draw a line here, and then draw a line really close to it coming down, and it's going to snap it to the edge of that line. You could do it here and then do it down here, and see it's just snapped all those lines together. It didn't these two. I guess I didn't get it close enough. You have to get it pretty close in order for that to work, I've found. So that's cool. So I'm going to turn that option off. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to insert a text box. So your text tool. It is right here, and just like with your pen and highlighter, it gives you the option to switch between 3 colors right here, which you can adjust to any colors that you want. But for some reason, it does not let you set presets. It just comes with these default presets, and I don't know if this is something that was accidentally left out or what, but you can still go to custom, and you can still select any of these colors. You can select a color from your color wheel, or you can enter a hex code and it will change to that color up here, but you're not able to add it to your presets. So entering the hex code, the color wheel, you know, choosing from this square, that would all work the same as your highlighter or your pen tool, but you just can't save it. So once you have your text selected, you can just click on the screen and you're going to get this flashing icon, and you're going to start typing if you want to. But if you want to select your font and all of that stuff, you need to select this tool. It looks like a paintbrush to me. I don't really know what that's supposed to be, but it looks like a paintbrush. So you can select that, and you can adjust the size anywhere from 10 up to 144. You can select your alignment. So this is right alignment, center, or left alignment. You can select your font right here, so it comes with any fonts that you have on your iPad. I have a video, like I was saying, that shows you how to install fonts onto your iPad, which I will link to in the video description. So I love that you can use custom fonts. This font that I'm going to use, Ink Bandit Sans, is a custom font that I installed on here personally, and it's really cool. So you can also choose a background color for your text box. So if you want your actual text box to show up, you can select one of these colors and it's going to give you a background color. You can select a border color if you'd like. So again, if you want your text box to have like a border and a background color, you would select that. You can adjust the width of your border, and the higher the number, the thicker the border. And you can adjust the padding, which is going to adjust the size of your text box. And then when you're ready to go, make sure you have whatever color you want for the text selected up here, and you can just start typing. So those are all your settings. If you only want like a text box and a border for one thing, and then you want just regular type for the other stuff, you're going to have to go ahead and type whatever you want again. So I'm going to type hey again, and see it's given me the same border color and background color as my last setting, but while that is still selected, you can hit this tool right here, go to your background color, hit remove color, go to your border color, hit remove color, and then adjust your border back down to 0 so you have no border. You can make your padding whatever you want. That's just going to be your text box. And like if you want your text bigger and you've already typed it, they don't make that super simple to do. What you have to do is deselect the text by just clicking anywhere on the screen, then select the text again, and then press and hold, hit select all, and then you can come back to this tool and you can adjust the size. And then if it's doing what it's doing here where it's making it bigger than the text box so it puts it on 3 separate lines, just deselect, select again, and you can move it up wherever you want, and then adjust your text box so it's all on the same line. You can make this as wide or as long as you need to in order to make all of your text fit. So another little trick that I want to show you, because this is something that people overlook, if you want to type something down low and you're typing down here and it looks like your entire keyboard covers it, just make sure you use your fingers to scroll down so you can actually see what you're typing. I never used the text tool in GoodNotes 4, so last night I was like, oh my gosh, my keyboard keeps covering my text, but you can scroll down. It took me maybe like 2 minutes to figure it out, but it was kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, just make sure you scroll so you can see your text at all times whenever you're typing, because it's really frustrating when you can't see your text. So I'm going to clear all of this. So now I'm going to show you how to import, crop, and resize photos. So digital planner stickers are images. That's all they are. They're PNG or JPEG images, and you just import them like you would an image. So even though I'm going to be importing like actual images, this same method applies to stickers as well. So your image tool is right here. So if you want to insert an image, you would select that, and then you can scroll through your camera roll right here, and it's all tiny little thumbnails. They were actually bigger in the previous version, but if you know what you want to import, it's not really that big of a deal, and you can just import that image. I'm going to import a picture of my daughter eating a cracker, or no, she's eating cake, excuse me. And so it'll just bring it right in. If you want to resize, you can resize it 3 different ways. You can do strictly width, you can do strictly height, or you can resize proportionally by selecting this and then dragging it down. But also that is your rotation tool as well. So if you want to rotate an image, it's actually kind of hard to resize proportionally without rotating a little bit, but luckily it'll snap back into place if you don't want to rotate. But if you do want to rotate, you can just drag that however you want to rotate, and it does kind of help you by snapping at like perfect angles. So that is pretty cool. If you wanted to crop an image while it's selected, while you see this box around it, click on it and click on crop, and then you can do a rectangle crop or a freehand crop. So to do a rectangle crop, just make sure rectangle is selected down here, and then just drag these boxes. So whatever is within the box is whatever is going to be left behind. And then click on done. And you've got a rectangle crop. If you want to do a freehand crop, you can select the image, select crop, go to freehand, and then let's just say I just wanted her face. I can just draw a shape around her face and click done. And now I've just got her face. So that is how you crop an image. And this is just strictly for inserting images from your camera roll. So let me delete this. If you want to delete an image, by the way, just click on this X. If you want to like take a picture on your iPad, which I don't know very many people that like to use their iPad to take pictures, but if you wanted to do that and then import it directly into GoodNotes, you can select this camera icon and select it again, and then it's going to bring you to your camera. It's just showing my desk right now because this is laying on my desk. And then you would take the picture like this, and you could hit use photo, and then it'll bring it right in, and you would adjust it and crop it the same way as you would if you imported it from your camera roll. if you want to import a photo from Dropbox or Google Drive or your files or anything outside of your camera roll, you need to double click on your image icon. And then you'll also see your image is a little bit bigger down here. So this is still your camera roll, but it makes it a little bit easier to see if you can't see these tiny little thumbnails. But you can also click on Insert From. You can click on Browse, and my iCloud Drive just automatically pulled up. I was super confused for a minute, but then you just hit back. So if you're on like iCloud Drive, but it's not where you want to pull stuff from, you can hit Locations. And now I can pull things in from Dropbox since I had that sync to GoodNotes. So I would just select Dropbox. And then here are all my Dropbox files. So let's say I wanted to pull in this coffee wallpaper. I can just select that, and it's downloading it from Dropbox and bringing it into GoodNotes. So that is how you would insert an image from like your Google Drive or your Google Dropbox or your iCloud Drive, whatever you use to store your photos that are not in your camera roll. So now I'm going to show you the Lasso tool. This tool is essential for using GoodNotes. It's how you're going to resize things. It's how you're going to edit things. It's how you're going to select things. You cannot use GoodNotes if you don't know how to use the Lasso tool. So I'm going to go back to my bullet journal, and I'm going to do a little bit of everything. I'm going to do my pen. I'm going to do a little highlighting. I'm going to do a text box, and I'm going to insert a picture. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I've got several different things on here, and now I need to use my Lasso tool. So this is the Lasso tool right here. It looks just like a lasso. So you can click on it to use it, and then for your options, you need to click on it again. And right now I have all of my options turned on. So I've got handwriting, images, and text boxes turned on. So with all of that selected, I could draw a gigantic circle around this page, and then I could move all of these images and whatever. And if I wanted to resize this, I could click in the middle of it and click resize. And then I could drag this, and it would make everything a little bit bigger. Okay, so let's say you've got a page that has a bunch of images and you've written on top of the images, and you want to move your handwriting, but you don't want to move the images. You could go to your Lasso tool and turn everything off other than handwriting. And then no matter how big of a circle you draw, it's only going to select your handwriting. Even though that circle overlapped with the image, it did not select the image, and it's not affecting the image. So that same principle applies to the other things as well. You can just turn images on, draw a huge circle, but it's only going to move your image. It's only going to affect your image. And if you have just text boxes turned on, exact same thing. So I'm going to turn all three of those back on for now. If you just want to select one little thing, you don't have to draw a huge circle, by the way. Like if I wanted to just select my photo, I could draw a tiny circle and it'll still move the photo. And then if I wanted to resize the photo, I could click resize. When you do it that way though, it only lets you resize it proportionally. But to get around that, just deselect the photo, make sure, you know, all like your images is turned on. This applies to handwriting and stuff as well. Press and hold on the image until you see this pop up and select edit, and then you can adjust the width, you can adjust the height by themselves, or you can click on it again and click crop, just in case you didn't do it initially when you imported the photo. You can always go back and crop it by doing that. Also, you know, when you lasso an object and you hit resize, that's also how you would rotate your objects as well. That applies to handwriting and highlighting as well. So I can rotate that however I want. So with your text and your shapes and your handwriting and your highlighters, since you do those within the app, you can change the color of those as well. So I wrote this in mint, and then the highlighter, you know, is behind it as well. I'm actually going to delete that highlighter really quick. So if I wanted to change the color of this text with my lasso tool, I can draw a circle around it and then click in the center, click on color, and it's going to bring up my color options, which I can do a custom color, or I can do any of my preset colors, and I can change it to pink. I can change it to whatever color I want. That does not work. If you bring in like a digital planning sticker, which is essentially an image, you cannot change the color that way. That only works for things that you do within the app. So, but it will work for this text as well. So I can circle this, hit color, and then select a different color for that. So now here is a major change from GoodNotes 4 to GoodNotes 5. This is essential to know how to do if you're just getting started with digital planning, but this is also showing people that are so used to GoodNotes 4 how to do this in GoodNotes 5 because it is completely different. I'm going to show you how to add pages to your digital planner or notebook, duplicate pages, move pages, and delete pages. So I'm just going to do this in my planner. When you're in the planner or notebook that you want to do this for, you can come up here to these 4 boxes and select that, and you're going to see all of your pages at a glance. So there are so many different ways that you can add and duplicate pages in this new version. So a lot of digital planners come with a blank page, whether it's a blank page per section or just one blank page that is meant to be duplicated and used however you want. So I'm going to duplicate my blank page for January. So I can do that 2 different ways. Let's say I wanted to duplicate my blank page, which is right here, and I wanted to place it behind this GoodNotes 5 page right here. I can hit select this blank page right here, and then click on copy, and then click on done, and then I can come right here to where this arrow is underneath the page, and I can select that arrow, and then I'm going to hit add page after because I want it behind that page, and now I can paste the page. And now I've got a blank page behind that page. So let's say I wanted to duplicate this page and all of the contents on it, and I want to place it, directly behind this page. And I want it to be, right next to this page, right behind this page, even though it's the exact same page. If you want to do that for whatever reason, you can select this arrow and click on duplicate. And it duplicates that exact page and all of its contents. So that is another option for people. If you want to duplicate like a certain page style that you've written on, but you don't want to transfer your handwriting, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm just going to write on this page. As an example, this is a monthly page for January, so I'm just going to scribble on it. And now I'm going to go back to my pages view, and let's say I needed this calendar again, but not anything I had written on it. You can select this arrow, select add page after, and then you can select current page, and it's going to import a blank version of that current page. All of your links will still work and everything in all of these methods that I'm showing you how to do. So that is another way that you can duplicate a page without any of the contents that are on it. If you want to delete a page, you can easily do that by selecting the arrow underneath the page and then selecting move to trash. Okay, now to move a page, let's say this GoodNotes 5 page that I duplicated earlier, I wanted to move that into February. All you're going to do is select it and then drag it wherever you want to move it in your planner. So that's super simple, very easy to do. Like if you duplicate a blank page and you want to move it behind one of your weekly spreads for the month, you can do it that way. So now I'm going to show you how to switch between multiple notebooks. This is pretty much the same as how it was in GoodNotes 4. If there's a few different notebooks that you want to use, let's say you have a sticker book and you have a planner and you want to switch back and forth, you would just go to your main menu and select whatever planner you want to open. I'm going to open this burn book sticker book. And then you'll see up here where I have my toolbar showing, I've got the burn book sticker book right here. This is by Luxbook, by the way. I'll link to this in the video description. It's super cool. And if I wanted to switch back to my planner, which is right here, I would just click that planner right there and it'll take me back to my planner. So you can copy and paste things in between notebooks. Let's say I'm just going to write on here really quick. I'm going to delete it in a minute. And let's say this is a sticker, image, handwriting, whatever, and I wanted to paste it into my planner. I would go to my LASSO tool, select this, make sure, you have all this turned on, whatever you need. And click within the circle, click on copy, go to my planner, go to the page that I want to paste it on, hold down and hit paste, and then there you go. So that's really good for, you know, sticker books if you want to switch back and forth and you want to keep all your stickers in your sticker book, but you also want to use them in your planner. That's how you would do that. If you want to close a notebook, by the way, if you have multiple notebooks open and you don't need one anymore, I'm going to open this again. You would just select this X right here and it'll close out of that notebook for you. So now I'm going to show you how to export single pages and a notebook as a whole. So let's say I just wanted to export this page right here. So I would just click this icon right here and I would just click export this page. So I could export this page as a PDF, which right now is telling me is flattened, but another new feature is you can export as an editable PDF, which I have not tried out yet, but hopefully that means the links will work, which would be super awesome. You can export this page as an image, or you could export this page as a GoodNotes file. Now, for whatever you select, once you select one, you can go down here to show options, and it'll give you some options depending on how you want to save this. So like for GoodNotes, it doesn't give you any options other than include page background, include annotation. I just always include that for both. For PDF though, you can go down here to PDF data format and choose between editable and flattened. But let's say you want to save this as an image. So you would select image, you can hit export, and it's exporting, and now you can choose to save it to your Dropbox. You can save it to your camera roll. I'm going to save it to my camera roll by selecting image. And now when I go to my camera roll, it's right here, and now I can look at it if I want to, or send it to somebody, whatever I need to do. So to export an entire notebook, you can do that two different ways. You can actually just within the document, whatever page you're on, click on export all, and it'll export the entire notebook, not just the current page. So you can export the entire notebook as a PDF. You could do it as a series of images, or you could do it as a GoodNotes file. So I'm actually going to try this later, and I'll do a whole other video on it that shows how to export a PDF that is editable, that hopefully will have working links. That's what I'm going to test for you guys later. So you would just select whatever, click on export, and it's going to export your entire notebook. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to have a bunch of images on my camera roll. But that is how you would do it. The other way to export a whole notebook, if you don't want to open the notebook, you can look at, you know, the overview of your notebook, click on this little check mark, select the book that you want to export, and then click export, and then it gives you all of those same options. So that's two different ways that you can do it. So that is really all of the essentials for digital planning. I hope I did a good job of going over the differences between GoodNotes 4 and GoodNotes 5 for those of you that already use GoodNotes. And I hope that if you're new to GoodNotes, that this video was helpful in teaching you how to use all of the tools that are available in GoodNotes, because I do feel like this new version, GoodNotes 5, is not quite as user-friendly as GoodNotes 4, but it's still pretty easy, and it's still my preferred app for digital planners. What I would love to see in a future version of GoodNotes, I would love the option to have layers, so it makes it easier to just select the things that you want to select and keep the things stationary that you want to keep stationary. Because right now, if you import, let's say, an image on top of an image, and you want to just move one of those things, it's impossible to do as far as I know. I actually found a way around it in GoodNotes 4, but that way did not work for me in GoodNotes 5. So leave a comment if you figure out how to do that, by the way, because I would love to know if you can move stacked images separately. The other thing that I would love to see in a future version of GoodNotes is the ability to add links. So if you want to create your own personal index page, let's say like in my January section, if I wanted an index page and I wanted to link to these GoodNotes notes that I had made, I wish I could have a way to do that. That's not available at this time, but I'm hoping that is something that they will figure out how to do in the future. For now, I'm still doing things the way that I've been doing, and from the beginning, I will still be using Procreate to decorate my planner pages, and then I'll just import them into GoodNotes as images, and I'll use GoodNotes more like an organizer rather than using GoodNotes to decorate my pages, because that's just how I prefer to do it. There's so much more freedom in Procreate, so I just prefer that. So that is it. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions at all. I'm gonna make several mini tutorials that go over everything that I covered in this video, just, you know, in case I have customers or anything that they just want to know really quickly how to add or delete pages. I can just quickly show them how to do that rather than be like, hey, check out this 1 hour video and skip to this section or skip to this time period, and then it'll tell you how to do that. I just feel like it's easier to make mini tutorials for that sake. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but anyway, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more digital planning tutorials. I also do digital plan with me videos, and make sure you check out my website naptimealt.com for tons of planner related freebies that you can download now.